You're listening to Pro Booth Talk, education and insights for photo booth company owners.
Welcome back to Pro Booth Talk. Laugh, what's so funny?
Jason always catches me laughing as we start recording. You know, you could have finished chewing that, Jason.
I turned my mic off to
You're
finish
in
chewing.
control of the record button.
Everyone seems so anxious. We're already talking about so many great things before, so I just had to get record before we missed anything else.
We're excited to get Javonte on here. Hi.
Yeah, thanks for having me on for sure. I'm excited too. See what we got to, discuss and, dive into some juicy topics. But thanks for having me.
So who are you? For anyone listening that doesn't know you yet.
I'm a photo boother like anybody else, really, to be honest. Nobody special, but, so been doing this for 3 years now. Just 3 years last month, February, we just officially hit 3 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I think about maybe a year ago, we went full on, experiential corporate kind of thing. But, other than that, I just do photo booths like everybody else,
What company? What company? What's your company called?
Our company's called Focus Pocus Productions.
That's so wild to me.
What's wild about it?
What made you pick that name?
I think really was just looking for something that was like I didn't want anything that was like photo booth, and I'm glad that I didn't go that way now because how the things work out. Like production can be anything, right?
Yeah.
And then additionally, I wanted something that was creative and like metaphorical in a way. So just trying to tie in like photography with the word focus, and then just like honestly, it just came about. You think of Hocus Pocus, and that's what it's funny.
That's
because
what I thought of when you told me that name.
All of our clients, like, it's so funny because like when we be at events or something like that, our client will do like an announcement or something. They're like, and special thanks to Hocus Pocus. I'm like, we've been talking for months now, and you just thought we were Hocus Pocus this whole time. It happens, but yeah. So I don't know, just trying to make a play on words, kind of, in a way, and be metaphorical. That's kind of how the name came about.
Yeah, I feel like anyone that has a play on words or has a clever spelling for words has that same problem. People will always pronounce them incorrectly or announce them incorrectly, or it's harder to find them on websites and things like that, or has really common names like Shutter this or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And I don't even have a common name, but I am constantly like, I just went, so our she's not with us anymore, but Allie in our office just got married, and I went to her wedding, and the videographer there introduced me to his fiance as Jason from Shutterbooth, which is Shutterbooth is a competing company in town. So I'm just like, not Shutterbooth, we're not Shutterbooth, but I love Todd, but that's not me. I'm much more handsome and
man. No, at least I don't have that problem. They just always call us Hocus Pocus. So yeah, I think we actually we come up on Google, I think, if you search Hocus Pocus, probably like on the second page or something like that. But so I guess
if you're not doing Google AdWords for Hocus Pocus right now, you need to make sure you're capturing that.
It's funny. Actually, I had a kid call me, and they were like, "I'm trying to call the movie. Is this Hocus Pocus?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
call the movie.
They're like, I'm like, I don't know, but yeah. So we definitely.
Honest with you, like I've been watching you on the boards for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and because you don't ever announce what your company is, so I just know Javonte, right? I just see the stuff that you're putting out, and right today I'm like, dude, what's your company name? I did not expect your company name to be Focus Pocus, right? I want to say Hocus Pocus, but Focus Pocus. So I want to ask you, Javonte, because of the stuff that you put out, have you thought about a rebrand at all? I'm just curious. Because I'm going to tell you that it was super surprising to me that that's your company name.
Yeah, I'd say your name, in our opinion, doesn't seem to fit what you're producing.
But
honestly,
you're doing great things.
No, I appreciate it. So actually, I am in between like a rebranding right now. Actually, especially where we're at right now, we're thinking of dropping it.
More corporate stuff, like it's more.
Yeah,
at least that's what we're seeing. Maybe there's a.
Yeah, no, we definitely do mostly corporate, especially this year. We like, honestly, we're more booked on the weekdays than anything. So we're doing a lot more corporate nowadays. I think that honestly, the name, it's something I've been going back and forth. Like, I've been juggling it a little bit. I was thinking of dropping it to just focus, focus experiential, like things like that. Still haven't really. Yeah, I like it too.
Focus goes in a lot of directions.
just from just like an SEO standpoint and having to like rebuild that kind of, cause like the thing is you won't forget a name like Focus Pocus Productions. And, you know, I mean, you might think it's Hocus Pocus Productions, but, you know, I feel like, I don't know, just the way our
It
SEO
could
is
be
set
to
up and
your
everything.
benefit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I would have to start all of
it's
that
so,
over and all of,
because
you know,
us
things like
having
that.
this conversation, the name already sticks in my mind. So
Exactly right. So, you know,
yeah.
that's kind of the point, you know, in a way. And I think something like Focus, like if we were to just drop everything and just make it Focus or Focus Experiential, I mean, I feel like, you know, it'll be hard to be found on Google, you know, in a way like that. So I don't know. It's something that we still kind of juggling to figure out what's the best route to go. But we
Yeah.
definitely got a rebrand coming, definitely a new logo and everything like that. Hopefully, like within the next month or something like that. So stay
Yeah.
tuned for that. But yeah. So
I
it's
feel
definitely
like
coming.
you're in those years. Like we talk about how a lot of companies when they first start at around like the 3 to 5 year mark is like when a lot of companies like start rebranding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, we just figuring out our brand identity and things like that just about now. So it's like now it's time to put everything together, especially just like with the kind of like clientele we're attracting. We kind of just want to make everything a little bit more focused in that you know, direction. So you know,
Yeah.
we're finding it now, but so yeah, we should have that rebranding coming really soon.
Really
So
soon, man, because I feel like rebranding is such a huge decision. Like
yeah,
it took me a long time. Like we did this last recording, we were talking about rebranding too, and I did not want to like rebrand. It seemed like such an overhaul, but I'm glad I
yeah,
made the decision.
for real. Definitely, it definitely is. There's a lot of, you know, a lot that goes into it, but yeah, it's worth it though for sure. I can see it. You know, I'm ready to do it. So any day now.
Did you start when you first started, did you start on the private parties sector or did you already jump in straight into corporate? I'm just curious.
I didn't jump into corporate until maybe like really a year and a half in, maybe two, honestly. No, actually 2 years then is when we fully went corporate, like fully, like at least fully try to like target that market. So about 2 years in, but originally, you know, we I ain't gonna lie, we was bottom of the barrel, backyard party. I think everybody started there, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah, and I
know,
think that's important. I think so many people want to be corporate right away, but you have to grind your teeth. You have to figure it out. You have to
man,
make your mistakes in backyards. You know, you just have to do your
corporate.
time.
Yeah, the word corporate, I don't even think that really fully, you know, even explains what that even is, right? A lot of people hear corporate and they, you know, hear the money people make and, you know, they think it's, I don't know, but I'm working on some job right now and I'm pulling my hair out on it. But yeah, no, I definitely started with the private, you know, birthday parties, weddings and things like that. We started from being $100 for an event, 200, 300, 400, and then just up to where we're at now. So yeah, I definitely started from the bottom, you know, so.
I love the humility that you enter the room with, saying that you're just another boother because, and you may be to yourself, but you're not in the community. Like for just being 3 years, you're a name already that is extremely recognized. And when a lot of like legacy, I guess, boothers that have been around for 10, 15
For
years get around
noticing
and
you.
we're talking about new blood and the new energy coming in, like your name
Your
is
name
typically
was
the
one of the
first one
first.
that comes up every time.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
that's crazy.
For anybody who doesn't know Javonte, he is also very young. So not only is he fairly new in the industry, how old are you? I don't mean to
I
put you on the spot, but
no,
I just
I just turned 22 March 17th. When I was on St. Patrick's Day, so I'm a lucky fella, you know. So yeah, I'm
too and
22.
been boothing for 3 years. And
Yeah.
you making like strides in our industry. I mean, I just want to say freaking
Bravo.
congratulations. I don't
Yeah.
even know what
Yeah, thank you.
you're
Appreciate it.
doing
Yeah.
amazing things. Like I watch the stuff that you put out and it's really impressive. And man, you have that creativity that some of us been doing this for a long time don't have.
I got some crazy stuff coming to the community soon. Like, and finally, like, you know how, you know, we all jump back and forth between things, like whether it's glam booth or, you know, whatever the case may be, we all do it. We put our own spin on it. But I think what I'm coming with next is something that never been seen before. So I'm really excited to show everybody. And, you know, that I think you guys.
So we have the secret of the unveiling right now on the show. Is that what's
Nah,
happening?
I can't even put it out there, but
That's all right.
I'm telling you,
I had
it's
to
gonna be
try.
the craziest thing the community has seen. I think it's the innovation that like somebody like me had to bring to the community. You know, humbly saying, but you know, it's gonna be
Well, you
crazy.
already brought
Just
it
stay
up.
tuned.
Yeah, and
Let's
this
do
episode's
some
not going to
little
drop till June anyways.
you yeah,
So
so
We might, yeah. By the time this come out, then you guys are gonna see, and the world's gonna be shocked. But that's for the future to tell. But yeah, so yeah, it's crazy to hear that my name's been coming up a lot. I have been a little bit more active in the community, so I can understand that.
Well, it's not even the name. I
It's
mean,
not even being.
people don't like. There's a lot of people that are very active, and people don't notice their names. People are
Yeah, yeah,
noticing
yeah.
your work, and
Right.
your work is sticking out, and what your name is associated to that.
Yeah, yeah.
Not just as good work, but like innovative and
Right.
just a
You're so
young
humble.
energy. That's
Dang.
yeah.
I try to be.
The next
I can be
generation.
cocky. I get told that I'm cocky a lot, so I got to tone it down a little bit. So, but nah, no, it's surreal. Even at PBX, like people coming up to me like, "Oh my God, I've been wanting to meet you," da da da, and I'm like, "What?" Like that's crazy. But it's definitely a crazy feeling to be recognized, I guess, for your art, your craft. So, yeah, no, I'm definitely um humbled by that and appreciative. But yeah.
I love that you said art.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I think we all have our own craft, and honestly I look at a lot of things that like the things that I come up with, and honestly a lot of the things that I do come up with or you know create behind the scenes, it doesn't make it to our social media or to the community, but it's just a lot of things that I'm working on or have worked on that was just I look at it like a form of art because it's not as simple as a photo booth, or it's not as easy like to bring to life. So I think everybody has their own craft, and I would say it's like an art form.
Absolutely. I think that's what makes you stand out, honestly. Like
Yeah, I
the fact that
agree.
you have the things that I've seen that you put out. And I know some of it is just concepts, but like creativity, I don't think we talk about that very much in our industry because a lot of people are very like just doing cookie cutter stuff.
Yeah.
But what makes you stand out is the fact that you are thinking outside of just what's available. Like your creativity is really wild.
Yeah, yeah, no, I be trying to just think outside the box, honestly. Just trying to you know, I always think like, what is something that somebody hasn't done, or like, maybe it might be similar, but like sometimes, for example, like if I have a client or if I have an idea, I will look through the community to see if it's been done before. And then I may find something similar, and I say, oh, they could have did this, and this to make that way better. So when I put my twist on it, it's like you never seen it before.
Mhm.
Because I like to go just that much deeper. Like for example, the catwalk video somebody had pointed out, because we've seen the catwalks before, and nothing wrong about that. Somebody just pointed out the detail that like you could see the reflection like of the people when they were walking on the surface, and they were just like who even thinks to add that, right? Especially to like a regular photo booth event, you wouldn't think to add the reflection of the person walking. So they were just saying like just stuff like that. I try to look at the details and like plug it in that way just to make it stand out a little bit more. And that's just how I come up with the craft, honestly.
That's a
Where are you getting inspo for like your ideas? Are you getting it from like media that you're consuming, music? Where are we getting ideas, or are you just crafting these straight up out of your?
Like I said, most of the time I have an idea, it just comes, and then I check the community, and I check, I may go on Instagram and see what's been done or whatnot. And then from there, that's kind of how I just, I pencil things together. Like, I haven't seen this, maybe this would be cool, and just really whatever's worth, my time more. That's how it happens, honestly. So it's
it's
no,
hard when you're doing
yeah,
all that experimental type stuff because it's
You
hard to
can't
sell your
learn that.
vision. Yeah, and it's hard
yeah,
to sell your vision to people, and people typically want to go with something that's safe and secure that they have seen before. So even the catwalk or runway, like, I mean, that's certainly nothing that obviously I created, but no one in this area is doing it, and it's incredibly hard for me to sell. Just the basic because it's these new
yeah,
concepts. It's just hard. So when you have
yeah.
a
No,
concept
it's
that's completely new, I mean that's a whole nother level of
right,
needing
right, right,
to sell that vision instead of you don't
right,
have
right,
people are like, show me the output samples or show me past events. Well, there's no past events. This
right,
is coming out
right.
of my brain.
Yeah,
Javonte
yeah.
puts together some crazy decks though.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that's exactly. So if there's something that like now, to be honest, I never like I've never created or pitched something to somebody that wasn't something that was already made. Like it's something that we could have put together or made or something like that. But I never really said like, hey, we should build this or do this and do that. It's usually something that I can show you output from or an example or something like that. But you know, what's it called? But yeah. So usually, if it was something where it was fresh or new, I usually like you said earlier, I make concepts for a lot of those, even if it's like I have to actually animate something and put it in After Effects to show somebody, or just have it on, ready to go if somebody were to, inquire about it, or if I wanted to propose that, I have it ready. So I try to have concepts and things like that. Honestly, a lot of my a lot of our web pages, they're all concepts. You wouldn't know it though, right? You would think that it's probably an event that we've done, but the client doesn't know that nor care if it is. They see that you're capable of doing this, obviously.
Visual. Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter if you had the events or whatever. If they can see that you're capable of doing it instead of just seeing it over text or whatever, they're more likely to be able to, relay that you can bring this to life, So that's how it has helped us, in that way. So definitely concepts are something that's needed.
So I feel like most people that recognize your name probably has recognized it from, like, I don't know, the past 12 or 14 months or something like that. What do you think that transition was for you from say, I don't know, 18 months ago to now, that has made you such a noticeable name in the industry?
That's a good question. Honestly, for me, at least about a year ago, I had a job I was working at. Cause I done been full time, back to work full time. Like, I think we've all had a, transition in that kind of aspect. So I'd have been back and forth. But the last time I was at work, it was just at a point where it was like, it was either or, like either I commit to the job or I commit to and at the time, the money, knowing that I had a check I knew was going to come, every month, it's a good feeling. You don't want to jump in a business and this is what you need to survive, right? But I came to the decision where I was just like, at work, I was having a lot of clash, like, with management, because, like, somebody would call me, like, a lead or something. I'm stepping off, like, yo, hello, like, how can I help you? And they're like, yo, where's Javonte at? Like, especially I was doing security too, so I didn't care. If I got a client calling me, I'm picking up. Like, I would lead a post, I would go around the corner. Look, you could be robbing the bank. I'm over here like, listen, we got availability, but let me call you right back. So look, I was having those issues a lot, and also I was calling out of work a lot as well. And at the time, like, honestly, like, it was somewhat of a downward trajectory of, like, in revenue and things like that. And so I didn't even know, how much better things would get. I just know I needed to focus on one or the other. So I ended up leaving the job, and at that point I was full time. And then that was the best decision I ever made, because, like I said, when I was at the job, I was complacent, I was lazy, working all day. You get home, you want to rest. You don't really want to, what I'm saying? You just get tired, and I got complacent, and I realized that. So once I left, it was just time to go full time, whether in the community, just showing people what I can do. Even in that time, that's when I was doing, like, a little bit of the creative videos for people, and I was putting the concepts out, because, again, I didn't have a job to do it. So, I mean, to make money or whatever. And I was still, doing my photo booth events, but you still need to still stay afloat and keep things going. So I was doing a little bit of video work and things like that. And that's kind of just how my name came up, just putting my stuff in the community a lot more after I had free time, And then, I started putting out concepts and doing work for people. And even now, I still do work for people in terms of, like, creative videos and things like that. But that's kind of that transition from being, I guess, a nobody to kind of being a little bit more out there, I guess. So that's how that happened.
Now, when you say you do work for people, creative videos, what is that exactly? What are you talking about? Like, are you talking about like snap pic video effects? What does that entail?
Yeah. So stuff like that. Like, for example, like, if you needed, like, just to say something simple, like, if you needed, like, a certain kind of 360 timeline, like, you needed, like, music integration, and you wanted the edits to match up with the beat. That's something I do for people. That's pretty simple. But then if you wanted something like some type of 3D scene with, like, foreground elements in the background, like, or if you wanted me to build you out, like, a catwalk or a runway experience, I could build you, like, a custom one. So stuff like that. I don't do it as much now because I'm busy with my actual stuff. Like I said, at the time, it was more so to hold me over. But right now, I don't really need to do it as much, but I still do it sometimes, mostly to help people out. They say, like, I really need your help. I can't really figure out how to do that or something. So I'd be like, I got you. A lot of the times I don't want to do it, but I be looking out for people. So I be looking out for people. I be stressed, man. I be having a lot of stuff going on, and then I got to do those projects take 10 hours, sitting in front of the computer trying to do. So, but yeah, that's the work that I was doing for other people. Yeah.
That's awesome. On your journey, is there anything that you feel like if you could go back and redo, would you do something different knowing what you know now about your journey?
I don't think so. I think everything is in due time. I think now, honestly, I feel as though I kind of got to where I'm at, not very long, but in a decent amount of time. So it's not like, it's not like I'm just now getting here and it's 10 years. Like even when I was 2 years into the company, it was people who messaged me on Facebook like, yo, I've been doing this for 10 years. Like I've never got a X, Y, and Z amount of money for one book. And how did you do it? So I feel like even from early on, like I was still doing pretty good, at least a lot better than a lot of other people. But what's
You're
it
doing
called?
great. 3 years, you're doing great, Javonte. You're doing
Sometimes
so.
it's crazy. It's crazy. Honestly, it's surreal. Like I said, like I remember when I got my first booking for $4,500. I ran around the house like as soon as I got off the phone, I'm running around, I'm jumping
Yeah.
over stuff, and it's just crazy from like how I guess desensitized you become. I guess me personally, and over time, like I'll sign $10,000-$20,000 in a day, and it's just like.
But you remember the days when
But I do
people didn't
remember the
want to pay
days.
$100
I
for it.
remember.
Yeah.
I do. And I always got to think back about that. And I always got to be like, like sometimes I may, it's a gig that's like 5 figures or something like that, but I may have to take off like 1,000. And I'm like, oh man. But it's like, it, it's funny. I didn't even first, like private wise, like weddings and stuff like that. I didn't start hitting $1,000 weddings or parties until literally last year, and I went from that to where I'm at now. So it's just crazy. It's
Very
surreal.
rapid.
But and it was weird because right when I started making those $1,000 bookings, that's when I fully transitioned into corporate, and I wasn't even really worried about that. So they took too long. But yeah, so it's crazy.
What did you do different that moved you from being a budget provider to being where you're at now?
I guess a mindset shift, honestly. It was like I put in the community. It was one point in time where I was just like, I'm just so tired of discounting people, negotiating with people. And I just said, I would rather go out of business than do another event for less than $1,000. And that's literally just what it was. At that point, obviously, we got a lot less inquiries and inquiries and things like that. But it was just a mindset shift. And like I said, I'd rather just go back to work if I was going to be working for pennies on a dollar. And then that's just kind of how it happened. And I felt like our work was justified to be able to charge it. So I just couldn't understand why it was so hard to, you know, please these people who want cheap photo booths.
Mhm.
But now where I'm at now, it was just a mindset thing.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you're right. You mentioned it's difficult to please the people that want the cheaper photo booths, and it's true. Like the more money people spend on the photo booth, the easier it is to please them. Like they have
Yeah.
lower
Yeah, no, that's
expectations. They're not
definitely
getting
true.
angry at the
That's true
smallest things.
for
Well,
sure.
I think they
Definitely.
trust that you know what you're doing, so they don't feel a
You're
need to
right. You're right.
micromanage you.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely true. That's definitely true. But
You
sometimes it
also
could be. It
mentioned
could be. Yeah.
it's funny, like the mindset where you like detach. It's almost like detaching the number from dollars or something. Because you're right. Sometimes you'll have like bids that are like, I don't know, $17,000, and they'll want it for like 15 or 14, and you're just like, are you insane? Like you're just gonna
Yeah.
take $2,000 off this job? But
Yeah.
a year ago, you probably would have done it for 8,000, and later on, you're just like, this is
Right.
insane. That like my mind now is just so
Exactly.
insulted that they want to take 2,000.
Yeah. Exactly. For sure.
It's
I
true
definitely had those
though.
moments too. I had those moments all the time. Yeah.
And my
I
wife
think
is always the
yeah.
first to remind me. She's like, you used to do photo booths for $350. Remember that, right? And I'm like, yeah,
I
I
think
guess you're right.
I think I framed my first check that was like in the 4-digit mark, and I was like, oh my god, someone.
Yeah.
And now you're just like,
Right. Exactly. I could have got $500 more than that. Or $1,000 more than that. I remember when I first got my first $100 booking, I thought I was gonna be rich. I'm like, what? It was only 1 hour, so I'm like, I just made $100 an hour. Oh my god, this is crazy. Man, I did
and
that event,
now
and I hated
Yeah.
my life after that. But so it's just it's funny how time works, and how things just progress over time.
Tell me why you said I hated my life after that, because I'm sure your listeners are wondering, what do you mean by that?
So you got to keep in mind, I am fairly young at the time. I was like 17, 18 when I first started. So I'm used to working 17 an hour job. So I'm like $100 for 1 hour. That's easy. Um, it was an hour drive, so I had to drive there for an hour. I had to set up for an hour. I had to drive back. The client was the hardest client. It's $100. Like it was just
They're
too
always the
much.
hardest. They're always,
Exactly. And I didn't know that, and I'm thinking
yeah.
it was easy money. And I'm like, oh, if I could do like, a few of these a day, and my life would be perfect. But after that, I think that was my first event was 100, and I jumped to like 300 the next day. And I'm like, okay, we're at $300 from now on. And then, it just goes up from there. But that's why I felt that way. It was too much work for as much as I, got paid, honestly. I mean, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah,
It takes you working that event to like realize that sometimes.
Yeah, and
Because
it
I was
takes
in the
definitely.
same boat.
a
Yeah.
long time of busting your ass to even get to. I was pretty much in the same spot as you. I got to a point where I would gradually increase my prices and gradually increase my prices, but at some point I was killing myself and I wasn't really making any money. And I decided I either have to make at least the X amount or else I've got to stop. Like I'm going to try. And I had no faith that it was going to work. And you're right. We took on less bookings, but obviously we made way more money and way more profit
Exactly.
because the expenses don't change, but it was immediate. It was irritating that I never had the confidence to do it up until that point. It was my breaking point where I was like, I need to move on or else we need to make this much money. Let's try it before we quit. And it
Right.
immediately worked. And it sounds like you had the same experience.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly how it worked for me. It's either try it or quit. And then, it worked in my favor in the end. So, you got to get to that breaking point. That's what you got to get to that breaking point where it's either you can keep taking it or you can put your foot down
Forget
and say,
this. Yeah.
this is what I'm worth and this is what it's going to be or it's not.
Yeah.
And that's the realization that I came to. And that's what a lot of people need to come to even now. So, but
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's scary because you're used to booking all these jobs. And
It is scary.
when you're not, when those bookings aren't coming in, you start panicking right away and you want to bring your
Sweating
prices down.
bullets.
But,
Yeah.
if your cost per job, let's just use some theoretical numbers of say like $300 per job and you're charging 400, obviously you're making $100 per job. So if you go right up to 1,000, you're multiplying that 10 times, or no, I'm sorry, 6 times. You're making now, 7 times. You're now making $700 per job instead of
right,
$100 per job. So you only have to book 1 out of 7 jobs to do the exact same amount of profit. And
right.
you'll probably,
It's
yeah,
scary though, because I went through the same thing. Like I had done enough events where I was just like, man, kicking myself because I'm thinking, I'm working so hard for just, was this really worth what I, I had that moment.
Right.
And when I decided, I sat and like did a business plan in my mind and I thought, okay, this is my breaking point right here. If they don't book me at this price, forget about it. And
Exactly.
for me, it was not instant. Like it wasn't like I lost book. I
Oh
did
yeah.
not book anything for like 7 months. I thought I was gonna shut down. I mean, because I was a hobbyist when I first started, right? So I didn't have, and I was like, oh man, it looks like I'm gonna have to go look for a job. And all it took was one client to like appreciate you, and from
Right.
there, you see growth. But it's
Exactly.
scary. I mean, for anybody who's like wondering, it's not like you just make the decision and it changes overnight. But when you look back, you just think, I cannot believe I used to charge that. Like, I can't believe this was even a tough decision to change what I
Mhm.
charge.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and there was a lot of us behind the scenes work to make it, justifiable. Jumping from being lower to jumping to being, 5 times as much. It was a lot of work to get to that point. So it's definitely not overnight. You're gonna have to put, some work in. You know,
What kind of work did you guys put in?
So me personally, I invested a lot of time in learning SEO at the time, and just branding and like in terms of just honestly, I think most of it just comes from the concepts I created that took me days to make, and things like that. SEO too, that took me a lot to learn, and it's paid for itself, and I couldn't do it when I was working. Like it was something that I had on my to do list, But when I was working, I'm like, I just don't feel like looking on no computer right now. I'm trying to relax. I just got working, working outside all day. I just want to chill. But, once I quit and I was able to do the SEO, it was crazy. So, and now I'm able to get those jobs and the people, like clients from all over the world at this point, honestly, they find us through that. And, they see the concept that we put out and the work that we've done, and it sells itself. I don't sell to anybody. That's how all my clients come. I don't recommend anything. And, they see the work. They know that it's worth it, so that's the work that I had to put in now to get to that point.
Do you have any resources that you could recommend to our listeners for those who want to jump on learning SEO? You learned it from no
All right.
past knowledge?
No, I'm good with technology and things like that, but I really just, YouTube, YouTube, Google, everything. Like, honestly, everything is out there and it's free. Depending on, everybody's circumstances is different. I had nothing but time on my hands. So if somebody else, it may be better for you to buy a course that has everything packaged up for you. You can break it down real easily. I had a lot of time, so I was able to just learn it through YouTube and things like Reddit and all those kind of resources that's already out there in the world. That's it though. There's a website called, I think it's called learningseo.io. I think I started, it was a course on there. I started with that, and then just YouTube and trial and error too, trial and error. But yeah, no, that was definitely the way for me, for sure.
Is that where most of your leads come through, or are you networking, or where are clients finding you primarily?
Google, that's just through SEO. Like, that's it. Like, honestly, word of mouth here and there, like, not a lot. Honestly, we don't do a lot of repeat clients. It's actually funny, but we probably do maybe from repeat clients every year. Other than that, it's all from Google. We may get some Instagrams from here and there, very rarely. But honestly, most of it just coming from the SEO work that I put in for the website. And that's coming from all over. I be in the community a lot looking for providers here and there. But it's just straight from SEO, Google. That's where they're coming from.
So yeah, are you ever worried that someone is going to come and out SEO you if that's the only place that you're getting your leads from? What happens if someone in your area?
So that ain't happening.
Well, it definitely happens though. So the
I
thing
mean, if somebody
about
had your area before, the SEO in your area before you did.
well, that's the thing.
What market are you in,
I'm
Javonte?
I'm in Orlando, but the thing about it is I don't focus on local SEO, like, not at all, really. Honestly, we're right now we're sitting at about 4 to 6 in Orlando for like photo booth rental Orlando, but that's not where the money is at. I mean, it's money there. Like, even just today, we just did a 5-figure activation here in Orlando, but honestly, most of our clients is like nationwide and they're all over. So I don't focus too much on Orlando. If I get knocked off of Orlando, it's not gonna really kill me at all too much. And then the other pages that I have, we got so many pages, you will have to outrank me for a lot of them. It's just not gonna happen. Most people aren't gonna invest the time investment of learning it, or they're not gonna invest the money it costs to do it. It costs a lot of money to do it. So I'm not really too worried about that. And if so, there's things you can do to, jump back on top of them and, go back and forth. But I lose position all the time. It happens all the time. One day I'll be number 1, the next day I'll be 7, 2.
Yeah.
But if you're like the first top 5, you're good. And I've never really dropped below top 5, so it doesn't really something that bothers me. I'm pretty much good in that, in that aspect. Yeah. But yeah, it takes a lot to stay there. But it's definitely the best, like, cost effective marketing, like, period though. Like, I used to do Google Ads a lot too. I did $100 a day. I did those for months on end, and some months was good. Most of them were terrible. And then that's when I was like, nah, I can't keep doing this. I'm gonna have to, learn something else. And then that's how the SEO thing came about. Yeah.
We do a balance of SEO with Google Ads, and our Google Ads, I mean, you have to treat it like SEO. You have to constantly reframe it and constantly work on it, and you can't just set it and forget it.
No, I think Google is more like, Google Ads is definitely more like you gotta keep working at it. I think that's a misconception about SEO, that you gotta always keep doing stuff. Like, honestly, like 6 months ago is when I really put in all the work, and I'm still like top 1 to 3, But again, over time, you might fall down, but you might put like a new paragraph on there and you'll be back up and running. But I think Google was one of those things where I had to always make sure these numbers are adding up, make sure I'm targeting the right thing and this, that, and the third. But SEO is pretty straightforward once you get it going. Once you get it running, it does the rest of the work for you. So, like you'll put a website up or put a web page up, you'll be like position 30. In a month, you'll be 15, and then you'll be 1. It's just a time thing. But yeah, I think it's a lot more hands off than Google Ads for sure. In my
Interesting.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really love that you shared that you were in this position where you had to decide to have a job or to go full blown into your business. Like, that's something that's really scary. And do you have any advice for owners who are in that position? Because that's really scary to jump into a business and to give up steady income. Like, do you have anything that you can share with listeners about that? Like the experience and like the struggles? Because I know there's like a mind trip with that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I wouldn't say do it like with no kind of plan. Like, I definitely wrote like a business plan and everything. Like, I know I wrote down like on an envelope somewhere that I got in the mail. I just wrote down I probably still have it on my desk. So I came out with a plan and what I was going to invest in, what I had left, and what I was going to work hard on every day for the next 6 months. I think on there the time frame that I had for success, I guess, was like a year. I think it was like a year, 12 months. And even before the 12 months, that's when things started going good. But I would say make sure you got a plan going. Make sure you can sustain yourself. You want to have, your emergency expenses and, things like that for, the next 6 months or whatever the case may be. So once I had all of that, I was like, sorry, Nara, I left the job. I had everything figured out. I knew what I was going to put my newfound time into. I knew what I was going to invest my money into. And then, I did it. And also, I don't have as many. I know a lot of people have a lot more responsibilities than I may have, so I guess when it comes to expenses or children or things like that, it may be a lot harder for other people. But I would say, I mean, if you could get a plan written down and actually put something, on paper in front of your eyes that you can follow and you can give yourself a cushioning time to get to where you're trying to go. I think it's something that's definitely doable. But that's just how I did it. Everybody's situation is different.
Yeah, I'm much better at making plans than following plans, personally.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I have those days a lot too. I have a to-do list right now. It's probably got like 100 things on it, and I just haven't been able to do it. Mostly because I got to do one thing at a time. That's just how my brain works. I got to do one thing. I can multitask, but I don't know. My brain just says do this first. Even if I gotta wait, like for example, there's a lot of things that puts me behind because, like, let's say I have a project that I'm working on, but I'm waiting for the materials to come in the mail. It's gonna take a month, and this month I can't work on the project at all, but I still won't work on anything else. Like I have to do one thing at a time. And I think that's why my attention to detail is so strong. And I pay attention. I focus on a lot of like aspects that, otherwise you might forget trying to juggle a lot of things. But yeah, that's just how I just do things, one at a time, slow and steady, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's, it sounds like you're discussing that as a crutch, but I think that's really an asset. I think if you took the same set of tasks and gave it to someone that is an avid multitasker and someone like you, I think you guys would probably finish at about the same time, but yours would be much more detail oriented. I think there's a misconception about multitaskers getting more done.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly. Yeah, it definitely takes me longer, but once it's done, I know it's done right. I know I didn't miss anything. That even comes with like just preparing to leave for an event and things like that. I make sure, I have everything set aside one thing at a time, right? If I'm packing a booth, I make sure I do that first. Not, I'm holding a cord right here and I'm running over here to get a printer. I just do one thing at a time, have everything set up, ready to go. And that's just
Describe me.
yeah. I try not
Multitasking.
to. I try not to, but sometimes I definitely do. But for the most part, I'm one at a time on with everything. So, yeah.
You talked about how corporate is just a whole different beast compared to private parties. Can you share with our listeners, what does that mean exactly? Like for anybody who's like doing private parties, who's thinking about like wanting to target corporate, like what does that mean when you say it's a whole different?
So I think a lot of people think that corporate, like, there's two sides to corporate, right? You got the corporate holiday party. That's a normal event. That's a normal event. They might pay you a little bit more, but you got like a corporate. And I think most people, when they think corporate, they're thinking more like holiday parties and stuff like that, galas, or they're thinking about stuff like that. Then you got the corporate other side where you got like movie premieres, brand activations, and really big high profile events. Those are just something else. Like, even to this day, I learn something new every day. It's certain, certificates or requirements, paperwork that I've never heard before. And then the worst part, don't get them abbreviating paperwork. Like, the other day, some lady asked me, what did she ask me for? It was like a BSA. She said, can you sign a DSA or something? And I'm like, ChatGPT, what is this person referring to? And then, I just every day I'm learning something new, and it's a lot of paperwork requirements and just, just a headache. Like right now, I think I average like at least 100 emails per corporate client, like just back and forth. I can't get out of Zoom enough this past month. Like I've been on Zoom and Teams like crazy. I probably never even been in a Zoom or Teams call before I ever did this company, So it's definitely a lot more time investment before the event. Like a lot of people think it's just more money, and which it is, but the bulk of the quote is the pre-event, all the things that you put in before the event. Once you go do the 4 hours or 10 hours or whatever the case may be, that's easy. But setting it all up, the time that you had to, put out talking to these people and getting them what they, want and figuring all that stuff out and legal requirements and, all that other stuff. So that's what I mean. But corporate is just, it's a different beast. And that's honestly just simplifying it. It goes way deeper than that. But yeah, just, be careful what you wish for, insurance, make sure your insurance up to date, it's a lot. So yeah, that's,
I
be
think it's
careful what
funny
you
you
wish
said
for.
be careful what you wish for, because I feel like a lot of people that go from weddings and move to corporate, a lot of people have that mindset like, who?
Or especially
Oh
people
yeah.
that want to start traveling.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
Definitely.
definitely not always all it's cracked up to be. And it's something that comes up in our podcast all the time, is that exact thing. Like a lot of people want to move to corporate because of the higher price tag, but it's bigger invoices, but it's not
Right.
more money. Like there's so much more work. It's such much harder job to complete. And
Right.
also like internally, because you mentioned a lot of people will take that word corporate and label it all kinds of things like holiday parties and wonder why can't I charge these people more money because it's a
Yeah,
corporate
exactly.
job. But like
And
the
that's the
local Taco Bell that's having a holiday party in their dining room doesn't have a Taco Bell
exactly.
budget.
And that's a mistake that I made starting out, because I'm
A
like,
lot of people, I
I'm
think, do.
all I hear in the community is corporate this, corporate that. I'm like, okay. So once I added like the event type, what's your event type? And when somebody said corporate, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be $10,000. They're probably looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, this is a Wendy's drive-through. Like, we do not got $10,000 for no
Yeah.
photo booth. And I'm like, yo, like, what am I doing wrong? I didn't
So
understand the distinction between it.
internally, and I wish the entire industry would follow my lead here, because internally we don't use the word corporate at all. We say marketing events, social events and marketing events, because Taco Bell has social events, but Taco Bell also has marketing events, and they are very different. So to us, a holiday party, whether it's for Sears or Amazon or my neighbor, it's the same thing. Whereas a marketing event has all the branding and the vinyl wraps and the
Exactly.
data and analytics and the experiential activations and things. So let's start
Sure.
using the term marketing events instead of corporate events. Corporate
Yeah.
events isn't specific enough to me.
It's not at all. So yeah, you definitely be on the right path with that one for sure. We could all use that
So
going
we could all
forward.
start that now. Let's all make a
Yeah.
pact.
What was the event or moment where that clicked for you, where you were just like, okay, like I understand why we're charging what we're charging for this event? Like when was that moment that it actually clicked? Because I think a lot of people in our industry have that misconception, like, oh yeah, you just charge more just because.
Yeah. Honestly, when did it click? I mean, honestly, it clicks every day. But I guess you could say probably. 'Cause, I mean, sometimes when it comes to these high, 5-figure or more events, like some of them are breeze. Like you'll be surprised, like wow, these people just gave me this much money and they didn't vet me that much or they didn't ask for too much. Some of them are easy. So a lot of them in the beginning were pretty simple. So I can't really say like I realized this a long time ago that this is why I charge this much, because I'm like, wow, that was super easy. And then some of them, you're gonna go through, you can go through it to get that money. And even like one of them I'm working on right now, and honestly, I quoted them a good amount, but not for as much as I anticipated how much legal requirements it was gonna put me through. And I'm just like, honestly, to the point where I wanted to withdraw the bid for the event, but they pretty much already said like, we're going with you guys. We're sending, I signed up for their onboarding, for their invoicing and everything. But I'm just like, I'm ready to just withdraw. You haven't paid me yet, but I'm working a lot. And I'm like, you guys are killing me. So like I said, like when it comes to the certain jobs, you just want to make sure you're charging enough for the pre-event, the work, the communications and the logistics of it all. And so like I said, I realize that every day. Like thank God I charged this amount, and I didn't think because it was an hour away that maybe I'll just give them a discount. I'm glad. So I don't even talk about discounts unless I'm already super up there with the invoice. That's the only time. But other than that, yeah, like it's every day. It's an everyday realization. Like thank God I charge this amount of money because it's too much work. It's too much. Yeah, always remember. Definitely.
I think that's all the questions I have. Jason, you have any?
One of our questions that I have listed here is just a generic question for anybody, I guess. If you could magically add any feature to any photo booth software, no innovation, no coding, just something that you feel like is missing. Maybe our technology isn't there yet, or maybe it is and no one's implementing it. What would you add?
What I would ever add would be something that would never be added, just because like the general, like the general sales, you got to get the people who can do it the easiest, or you got to market to the vast majority of people, not just what I want. But it'll be, I mean, honestly, for the most part, if I can't do it with Snappic, I can do it with Breeze. So I don't really have.
Breeze,
Yeah, I can't really put my finger on it. I think Snappic, while they do lack a lot of customizations that Breeze had, I think they are one of the most advanced softwares out there. I wish the video effects could be a little bit more complex, but obviously that's probably not going to happen because it does need to be easier for most of the people using their software. But other than that, I don't think there's another software that has the video effects customization like Snappic does. But
Yeah,
I don't think I really have anything because and then a lot of the times I use these software. If it's one software that has something I use them together. Whether I'm using Snappic Sharing Station and Breeze for this, or I'm using a slideshow from Snappic, but I'm bringing it in through like a watch folder or something. I make it work. So I don't know. You have anything you would say?
I didn't expect you to ask me also.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Javonte throwing curveballs.
What about you, Lap?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I do wish, like, I know there's a lot of things that Breeze can do that Snap can't, and I'm not one of the people that have found the time to learn Breeze yet, so I wish that Snap would make it easier for me. Like, we just had to do an event where we needed like a survey, essentially. Like the client came up and they would answer these questions, and that would, based on their answers, that would select which AI experience output there was. And I wish that Snap could do something like that. But
yeah.
I would say I would like to see software that like takes still photos and outputs it as like a full-on video, like but I think Snappic does that now, right? Or am I? Or
I don't think so.
Because
so like a moving background, is that what you mean?
So like take a still photo and turn the still photo into like an animation, like a little mini commercial with like their logo, intro. I can do it with Breeze. So I can't say it's not possible because I've done it with Breeze. It's just you have to like.
So do you mean like a moving background, or do you mean like a leading like trailer or clip at the end?
Like just think of like a movie trailer where they have like the intro, then they have the still photo, and then they have like animation, and it outputs as the MP4, and then you can still print the photo. Because I don't think there's software that will let you. I think Snappic will let you take a still and then turn it into a video. I think.
Yeah, that's a good point. To be able to print it.
Yeah. Because I know
Snappic needs
one thing
help.
I guess I would like Snap to be able to do is have different print outputs. For example, when we're doing like
that seems so basic. It's so funny that it doesn't.
Yeah, like so when we do magnets, for example, we still use darkroom booth because we want one template to print out really small for the magnet, and we also want a 4x6 to print out that's big enough for to give to the client because they always want both. They always want both.
There's a workaround though.
There's a workaround, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
But well, actually, I guess we don't do a workaround for the print, but we do a workaround with the GIF. So we take a GIF and we do 2 photos so that they have some kind of deliverable, and then the print comes out, because that's another issue. If you want to do, say, magnets or buttons, something that's round like that with Snap, and you just take a photo, well, if the client wants to text it to themselves, they're going to get that weird template that you're using to punch. So what we do is use the GIF. Then they have to take 2 photos. They get that deliverable, but you can print the GIF, and it'll default back to a print template, which we use to punch the buttons or pressors.
Yeah. But I've had the request. I've had the request for like a still photo that prints as a 4x6 and then outputs the digital as a video.
Yeah.
Like,
I can
but
see
that's that's more custom stuff. But I mean, you could do that with Breeze. Yeah, I don't know if that's even that common for most people.
Snap. We had to do something like, if you do like a GIF with several animated frames, it will print the first frame. So as long as your first frame is the photo that you want to print.
An output as a video with like an intro and
well,
it
won't be a video. Well, I don't think you can add an intro or an outro though. It would just be a GIF,
like that would be
frame GIF.
Yeah, but I'm talking about I'm talking about like a trailer style video.
I mean, I see a lot of people do like the AI segmentation with the freeze frame, so you can make it.
But then the freeze frame is that? Yeah. The photo is just. It's like you're literally taking a snapshot of a video frame that's possibly very,
it doesn't look good,
most of the time, blurry. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I've done it I've done it with Breeze, but it was, I had to do
Breeze make you work for it too.
Yeah.
God. But
we need to make those shirts next year. Breeze will make you work for it.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's funny. Before PBX, I was like, because I knew Snappic was coming out with their trading card thing, and I'm like, oh my God, trading cards are over now. And honestly, it's really not. Like, I was waiting for Snappic to come out so I can leave Breeze alone. Once Snappic came out with it, for my purposes, it was very underwhelming. And I was like, I just like how much more I could do with Breeze anyway. So even though it's harder,
it's once you said Breeze, you don't have to Once you said Breeze to do it, you don't have to. It's just it's the initial hurdle of programming it.
I mean, it depends on what you need,
unless you're not saving it, because I save my settings.
No, I guess it depends on what you need. But nowadays, I guess I kind of do have the framework where I can just switch out, like, the background or whatever.
Yeah.
But even then, though, it's still a little bit of background work when it comes with with surveys or how you want the experience to play out. It is a little bit of, you got to go back and read that manual. But Snappic was pretty underwhelming with their new feature for trading cards. So I don't even think I'm in comparison.
I haven't tested it.
It's a first step. I agree, it's underwhelming, but it's there now. It's a first step, and hopefully they build on it.
I haven't tested it yet.
The dynamic surveys, I don't think they got me beat with Breeze. Until they add that to it, I'm not really worried about it. Which I don't know. I don't think I will. The thing about Snappic is they do things the right way. They just take forever to do them. So I don't think I really have to worry too much about trading cards becoming super, saturated or whatever the case may be. Not that I care anyway. Once something goes out, I'm working on the next thing. So, it is what it is. Life goes on. But and I know a lot of people get really, pissy about it a little bit. But, it is what it is. We all trying to make money. But that's all I got to say about it. Nothing I can ask for specifically though about these softwares.
I cannot highlight enough the fact that you said while everybody's on trading cards, you're on to the next thing. And I think that's something that our industry does not understand so much. I mean, there's some people that just do, cookie cutter photo strips and stuff. But if you're wanting to win these huge events, you have to be ahead of the market. So if everybody else is doing trading cards, you can't be following the crowd if you're trying to win a lot of these projects. And I think that's something people don't understand. The companies that are doing big things, they're doing these things before the rest of the industry even knows that it can be done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like the people who've been doing trading cards,
they're just playing catch up.
We just figuring it out, but they've been doing this for a while now, and by the time the masses get involved into it, they're already working on something else, something to stay ahead of everybody. So, as long as you just keep going, still do your trading cards, but already be looking forward for the next thing,
The next cool idea.
The next cool
idea. What's
the
next cool idea, Javonte?
Won't tell us. We already tried.
It's crazy.
What's the next cool idea that some of us should be looking for?
Honestly, it hasn't been done yet. So I don't even want to hint at it because I don't want nobody else to say, "Oh, you know what? Let me try to do it before he's done." Because I got some things to wait for. That's coming. It's coming. I got to build a few things. I got to put a few things together. But it is new, never done before, never done before. So, be on the lookout for it. But I can't say too much right now. I got
I
to be the
keep trying to
first.
get him to say something, Jason.
I'm just trying to determine, like, are we software? Are we hardware? Are we a mix?
Oh, it's a mix. So I'm pretty much like building a software for something that's not supposed to be used as a software. So, it has to do with a lot of like scripting and a lot of automation. And that's it. Yeah. So it has to do a lot of scripting, a lot of automation and things like that, and making API calls and things like that. But once it's done and once it's put together and once I show how it works, it's going to be crazy for sure.
Do you know Jason Cage?
Sound familiar? Yeah. Is he out of Texas?
Yeah, he's out of Texas. He does a lot of innovative things like that with different scripting, and even like he just launched this little program that he built for himself, and now he's offering it to people.
I saw that.
The print
What is it?
texting.
I don't. What are we talking about?
It's
Print
just a
counter.
program that you could run on your computer that will send you a text if your printer gets low on media. It's built mostly for like drop off or things like that, so that it'll just punch a text over to you and say, hey, this computer is almost out of paper. Which,
Oh, that's cool for a drop off.
yeah, it's cool, and I thought about it for a bit, but it just seems like I'm not on every job. So, I mean, how is it going to know if you're a bigger operation? How's it going to know, like, who's it going to text? Is it going to text the person that's on? Do I need to set it up each time for who's working that event and then putting their phone numbers in? So it would be nice to get the jump on prints, but.
Yeah, I don't think I really have too much of an issue with prints to where I would need something like that. Yeah. Most of the time, I never even
for a
run
drop
out
off or
during an
something,
event.
though.
For a drop off, I can see that being the case. But yeah. I mean, it's definitely a great. I mean, it's definitely a great tool. We take all we can get, right? If something can make your life a little easier, for all means, I appraise it all the time. But yeah, I don't really have too much issues with printing. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it's not like specifically that. So, like, he's just always has these little things that
I hear
he's
you,
popping out, just very innovative, and a lot of times he'll mention them and then he'll never mention them again, and they're just forgotten because they didn't work out. But just along the same lines as creating stuff.
And that's how you got to be to stay ahead of the curve and keep bringing new things to the market, and you just got to keep trying new things. So that's where I'm at right now. I wouldn't even have known what a script was like not even a month ago, but just doing stuff.
That unlocks so much capability when you start learning all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
It makes it almost
It literally does. But yeah, just keep learning. That's all I gotta say to anybody watching this and you wanna like get into just doing creative work. One, you gotta be creative. And two, you gotta keep learning things. Keep trying to do stuff that's new. Keep trying to make different tools work with each other. And sometimes a lot of people, and this is one thing, I noticed that a lot of people, they wait to get a certain type of job to like try to do something. Like, for example, like somebody will wait until they get a lead for trading cards before they already do the R&D for it. It's a lot of things that I've done a lot of R&D for, and it has yet to see a client. But I know when the time does come, got it ready to go. So a lot of people, you should start doing your R&D for a lot of the cool things that you see. Start learning Breeze now. Start learning this now. Because when I first had to do trading cards, I had to learn Breeze I had 3 weeks before the event and trading cards and all that crap. And then I learned it was a headache. But had I had already known it, it would have been smooth sailing. But and it's a lot of people I see now who have
lucky because 3 weeks is not normal time frame. Stuff like that.
No, really.
I think a lot of people feel like if they'll have 3 weeks, they'll be fine because they learn Snap Pick or something like that in 2 or 3 days. But
you normally don't have a 3-week window. You normally have like a 3-day window.
Oddly enough, my lead time right now is like 2 months, which is still, I think that's pretty short. Like most of my leads are coming through, especially big jobs. They're like 2 months out. And I'd be like, oh my God. But for some reason, I cannot, they're rarely past 6 months. Like that's the crazy thing about it. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, 3 weeks was definitely a super, super short time frame that I had to learn. And it was very stressful.
I don't normally have 3 weeks.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
I would
But I think
recommend it.
that's great advice, because I feel like that is what gave me an advantage too. Like, just when I first started, I was a stay-at-home mom, so I had a lot of time to do R&D, and a lot of this stuff I never even saw myself selling, because
Yeah.
at that time in my career, I was doing basic like birthday parties, quinceañeras, weddings. Actually, I had to grow into weddings. I was doing a lot of backyard parties, and just my curiosity got me into doing R&D. And like, you come up with a concept like, okay, let me see if I can make this happen.
Yeah.
And that R&D typically takes weeks and weeks and a lot of hair being lost.
Exactly. No, really,
Yeah.
really. I
And then
think,
when the project
yeah.
falls in your lap, you've already figured it out.
So let me ask you, what do you think was like the point where, or what work, or who inspired you that you first seen and you was like, I didn't even know that was possible, to make you start getting into more creative things, or were you kind of just coming up with that on your own at the time?
Well, I've always watched, like, Men has always been inspirational,
And that's
and
what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say.
even from the beginning. And Steve, also in Australia, he's like always
Oh yeah,
new, exciting things.
Steve,
Uh,
Zach.
so I would say like those two over the last 11, 12 years, however long it's been, are two people that I've always kind of kept an eye on of what they're
For
doing.
sure, for sure, for sure.
I
Yeah.
was inspired by Mir. He's over there in Florida, somewhere down in Florida. He was putting out, and Kelly. Oh gosh, what's Kelly's last name?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
is she still in the?
She no, and when COVID happened, she pulled away from it.
Yeah,
But her
she was
stuff
someone that
was
was really inspirational too. She was always something
yeah.
very new
So
every time.
and so I watched both of them, and then really, I want to say like 8 years ago, I started collabing with some companies like Shelly from Pop Social, and
Mm,
her stuff. If anybody follows her, she was not on the radar back then, but
She's barely on the radar for most people now, but she's
yeah.
definitely someone that people should keep an eye on.
So wild. So I would collab with her on some projects, and oh my God, the stuff that she would throw at me, I'd be like, this is impossible. This is not possible. It cannot be done. So I'm not one, like, I'm one of those people, like, if you commit to doing something and something's right, you just gotta follow through, right? So I would sit there and R&D. When I say I did not have 3 weeks to R&D, I usually have like 2 or 3 days to R&D, and I'd have to, yeah. So like
I thought.
these workflows that I come up with, like, I have to, I usually am on like a crazy time crunch. So it's to your advantage to do all this stuff while you
Right,
have time,
right.
while you're, if you don't have these clients, that doesn't mean that you won't have these clients.
Exactly,
So learn
exactly,
it, put it out there, and I honestly believe like whatever you put out, you're gonna attract. So
exactly.
if people aren't coming to you for these projects, if you're putting it out there, you will attract that clientele that is interested in it.
For
Even if
sure.
you haven't done the event, because I know you mentioned like you have like a lot of conceptual stuff on your website. That doesn't matter to your client. They just want to see visually what your mind has come up with, because for folks who aren't creative, they can't even imagine what you're imagining.
Also, I'll say to anybody who wants to get into that kind of work, like, don't be afraid to just like propose it and do it for, like, maybe just do it for what you would do it for a regular event. Even now, there's things that I want to really put out in the market, and it's almost like sponsoring it, in a way, just to get the content, or just to get
Hmm.
the experience.
Yeah,
If
definitely.
there's something you want to do, either give it away for free or just charge what you normally charge and get that content and put it out there into the world. Even for my first trading card job, I don't think it was the best, profit margin on that one. I drove 24 hours to go do it, but I knew that I had to do it to get to where I'm at now with the trading cards, which is crazy. That's like our top right now. That's like the craziest thing I'm working on right now. But I knew I had to do it. I did not want to drive 24 hours to do it, and it took a lot of time to do it. But and initially I was going to white label that, but I was like, I need hands-on experience with it, especially if I'm going to sell it to somebody else. I need to know how it works, and then and so yeah, so get out there and work. Put the work in, put the concepts out, send those concepts to your clients, and offer it for free, even if you have to, just to get it. And then like I said, once I got that content, I put it up on a website. I'm like, what? I'm right there with men. I'm like top 3 for trading card in America. So I'm up there, and that's what I needed. And I saw the vision. That's what I had to do, and it paid off. So that's definitely something I would recommend to people. Get out there and just put the work in for sure.
Yeah, Kelly used to say the same thing. The one that I used to follow, she used to say like even if you don't have an event, just set it up in your garage, set it up in your studio, put out that content, and you'll attract that you'll attract it. Did you win something this past PBX?
Yeah, it was it was actually it was that event that I had did with the trading cards that I had posted. It was what is the best corporate event 3 to 5 years in. That's the one.
Congratulations.
Yeah, yeah.
Congratulations.
I swear I remember you walking up that
Yeah,
stage.
yeah,
High
yeah.
five.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, no, that was crazy. That was crazy for sure. Yeah,
You had a
it was
Kool-Aid
crazy.
smile coming up on stage.
Yeah, nah, yeah. So yeah, that was crazy. I won last year too. I didn't get that award though. I never came to PBX, so I don't know.
What?
I don't know where it's at in the world now, but yes, I'm happy I was
What'd you
able to.
win? What'd you win for last year?
I think that one was like best corporate event 1 to 2 years. So
Wow, that's
1 to 2 years, and
amazing.
then three to no. I'm lying. It was best newcomer 1 to 2 years in or something like that. That's what it was. That's what it was. Yeah, yeah. Thank
Congratulations.
you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I wonder
Man,
where that
making
award is.
strides.
Is there an expiration date? Do they? What do
You
they do
feel
with
I
those?
never. Yeah. I figure you probably had to be there in person to get it or something. So I don't know what happened to it, but I was able to come back and win another one. So I'm not really I'm not pressed about it anyway.
You going to Amsterdam?
Amsterdam, what's that? PBX?
Yeah.
in
When is
Europe in
I don't.
September 25th, 26th. Man, how can you not want to go?
I don't even have a passport. That's something I gotta work on.
Well, you got some
Yeah,
You got
lips.
some
You got
time.
yeah,
some
no,
lips.
definitely. I definitely got that. That's on my to-do list. I gotta be doing that
Do
soon.
it,
But
because I went to London, the PBX London. It was awesome.
oh yeah,
And you get to like travel while you're there. It's like
right.
two birds with one
Yeah,
stone.
yeah, that's something to look forward to. I have to put that on my bucket list. Definitely. I never left the country, obviously, but so that's something I definitely I should look into. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, get
They
your
do those.
passport. Look into
They
it.
do those every year. PBX in London and
It's the I think the
Vegas.
third year that they're doing the PBX Europe. First 2 years were
Gotcha.
in London, and this year's in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But everything you talk about with your photo booth, doing those concepts and just having them there and ready, it's the same thing with a passport, man. Even if you're not going anywhere yet,
Yeah. No. No. Definitely. Definitely.
you
I
just
already
got to
know.
get it.
I already know. I already
You gotta
know.
get over there and make the connections over there in Europe too, because I mean the stuff that you're putting out, I'm not gonna be surprised if you start winning like international projects if you haven't already.
Yeah, I've definitely been working on a few of them to my surprise, and so definitely
Not to your
it's
surprise.
no, it's to my surprise because
Nah.
when they come through and they're like, "Oh, we're from London," I'm like, like, how the hell did you find me? But
Yeah. So
that's a whole
PBX,
different ball game. So there's definitely
yeah, that's what I'm
something to
saying.
yeah.
PBX Europe should not even be, you shouldn't even be debating it. Just get your passport.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that in the next month. Hopefully the next month
Do it this
I'm gonna start.
week. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I'm
Just
busy.
go do it.
I'm just too busy, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm
Just
gonna
do
make sure.
it.
I'm
So what do you
excited.
do when you get that call for a photo activation in Paris, and you have to say, well, let me go and figure out a passport.
Yeah, you're
Passports
right.
could take a
No,
long time.
Do
but
it.
definitely when it comes to stuff like that, I definitely look straight to white labeling it just because, like, even if I could do it, I think I'd make more money white labeling it because it'll just
But then
cost
you
too
don't
much.
go to Paris.
More
It's not
reason
always
to
the
go
money,
to
man.
PBX Europe too. More reason to go to PBX Europe so you can make those connections now for when those projects come up. I'm just saying.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. Because yeah, I definitely just had to scramble for another job I'm working on right now too. So yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right for sure. But the community is so great. The community is so great. You can always find somebody. But I'm gonna get that
Get your
passport.
passport,
I'm
your
gonna get
lucky
the
stuff.
passport. I'm gonna get the passport. I'm gonna get it. But yeah, I'm working on that. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that. I'm gonna see. I don't even know. What does it take like a few months or something to get that back? Or
No. It's like 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
It depends on how backed up they are. It
They're
can
they're
take a
they're
couple
not
months,
backed up.
but
Yeah. No, that was like after people that was after
COVID.
2020, but now they're really quick, like 2-3 weeks fast.
oh, okay, okay, yeah, all right. Well, that's something I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that.
You
I'm gonna
tell
do
them
that.
it only takes 2 or 3 weeks is going to put it off.
Listen, once I get some, like I said, it's something that I can't
He doesn't
understand
sound like a
myself.
procrastinator. I think he's good.
No, I definitely am sometimes, but because I'm a procrastinator because I got to do everything one at a time. That's the only reason, right? So my schedule sometimes it get knocked off because I'm waiting on something else. But yeah, I'm probably not gonna do it after this call. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm probably not gonna do that for another month or something. But once I get these, it's always like you always say, once I'm done with this, I'm gonna start doing that. But then once you're done with
Have
that, you
more.
get something else that come up. So I got a back order of to do lists. So right now,
Yeah.
passport gonna be a little bit down the list, but I'm
Add
gonna
it to
get to it though.
that
I'm
100-item
gonna get to it.
list.
It's gonna get done though. It's going to get done. I promise. I promise. I'm gonna put next to it. Lap and Jason said to get this done, and I'm gonna get it done for sure. Definitely,
All
definitely.
right, man.
Yeah,
Well, I appreciate you jumping on. We pulled this together, and I think like 2 days or yesterday, 2 days ago, something like that. We reached out to you,
yeah,
and glad we could work it out so quickly. I love watching what you're doing, and super excited to see where you take the industry. Like generally speaking, I would want to see where the industry takes people, but I feel like you're going to be
yeah.
one of the few people that kind of pave the way for the industry moving forward. So
Yeah.
it's going to be
And
fun
you're
to
so
watch.
young, so wild.
I appreciate that. I'm excited to show y'all what I got to offer. The community as well. So like I said, just stay tuned, and we'll see what goes from there.
All right.
All right, man. I'll catch you guys next time. All right.
Thanks, fight.
All right.
To keep the conversation going, join our Facebook group, Pro Booth Talk Community. If you enjoyed this podcast, consider showing your support by subscribing, liking, reviewing, or sharing this topic with someone in the industry.